Welcome back to Getting Zwifty After 50. Heading out to downtown Dauphine, whatever it is. Got logged in a little bit earlier than a minute to go. I think it was 3 minutes I got in there. We're starting off tonight with a race talk. Typically, I've been doing some live racing and streaming live, but this one was kind of on a whim. Decided just to do the race at the last moment and decided to record it, then to see how it would go and come back and comment later. So that's why you see the little race talk icon there. So if it had the little speaker waves coming out from the center with a live, that would be me doing a live race. This is the race talk. So we're in the paddock getting ready to go out on what I thought was going to be a typical race. I wasn't paying that much attention to it. I noticed there were 51 people logged in for the race. But the one thing I didn't pay attention to was the fact that it was 10 laps. Typically, this race is 8 laps. So as I started out here, I was thinking it was going to be 8 laps. And I know this sounds like a broken record, but it just is the case that you get out of the gate pretty fast. So the question is, how long will people spend going 400, 500 watts? As it turns out, just like the last time, not that long. Yeah, we're going up into the 400s, but I've been in some of these races where it was up to around 500, 600 watts until finally they just snapped. But here we are heading out. Again, this is the second time I've raced this particular route. I'm not even sure how to get back to going the opposite direction. I guess this is a clockwise direction. I'm used to racing the first crits I did here. It was a left or a clockwise. No, let's see. I can't keep it straight. We would be going counterclockwise in the beginning. So whatever the case, this was different. And it's different primarily to me that it's not as steep of a climb. I think the other direction seems to be steeper but shorter. This seems a little longer but not as steep. I could be wrong. It feels that way to me. So because I hadn't thought about it that much, I didn't know what I was going to do. First, I decided, I'll just sit in and play this game the way that I always play this game, and that is stay in the first 5 to 10 riders if I can, and don't work too hard. Try to keep my wattage down, even if it means I may fade back a little bit, just trying to manage my watts per kilogram. So right now I'm putting out, even on a downhill, over 4 watts per kilogram. That is my FTP. As you can see down on the bottom, moving across the screen, are my efforts. It's a graph that shows the efforts I'm putting out. Red or very dark orange is the high, and then blue down to, I think it's almost like a light blue, that's an easy. So see that we went off hard, went up the hill, down, and now we're kind of settling in. You see a lot of yellow and green there. That's not bad. I'm sitting in at this point. Now, I could have kept doing this for the whole time, but I got to thinking to myself, I do this every time, and I want to do something different. I was not going to try to do a solo breakaway, but I got to thinking to myself, why don't I try to form a selection? What would it take for me to work with some other folks to snap this line? And you can see there on the Crit City phone screen, there beneath the power, that we're kind of in a big blob. There's some people back behind, but the majority of us are right there together coming under the banner. So I got to thinking, what could I do that could help make something happen? So I decided I was going to go off the front, not for the purpose of getting away, but trying to keep the pressure up a little bit and bring some of the riders across to me, and then we could settle in and have that gap. And you can see it beginning to happen. That one big blob is now beginning to stretch into it's more like three, because a lot of the guys are right there beneath the arrow with me. So the idea is that I keep going, pull those three guys or the smaller blob that's behind me up to us, and then we keep working and bridging that gap. So, or not bridging the gap, creating the gap. But I knew if I kept on the front by myself the whole time, it wasn't going to happen. So if I could stay up toward the front, keep these guys working with me, attack on the climbs each time, the strongest riders would be able to go. And those stronger riders would be able to go with me, I hoped. So here I am working with them. I think I noticed one point my heart rate was at 170, and that's up there for me. But I still wanted to work, not again for the purpose of doing a breakaway solo, but just to get the group split up. And you see it's happening. I was successful in my first objective, and that was to break it up and form a selection. So we're in the process of dealing with that right now. Back up the climb, putting up more wattage. Now this only works if people come with me. If I'm going by myself, then there's no use in trying this particular tactic. And that's kind of what happened to me on that climb. Groups caught up, they came around, and quite frankly, I wasted a lot of energy on that climb. But I wasn't paying that much attention to what was happening behind me. I was just trying to keep the pressure going. I think it's kind of funny that we break it up more on the downhill than going uphill. I would think that it would break up more pushing hard up the hill, but seems like the blob stretched out more on the downhill. Now I'm going to be watching here because I didn't notice. I finished farther back than I thought in the end, and it appeared that two guys got away that I didn't notice. So I want to keep my eyes out and see if there are two riders who go off the front and stay off the front here in this beginning section. Of course, what I'm thinking at this point is, by this time I realized that it was 10 laps, not 8. And that's a big difference, because right now I'm thinking, oh my word, I'm on the 4th lap. I've got 6 more to go. I don't know if I can do this. And once again, those mental games start playing around in my mind. We are dropping some. We are getting to a smaller group, though not as small as what I had hoped it would be in my effort to break things up. But definitely did break things up a bit. And I do think that was partially due to the efforts I was putting out, pulling people up to catch up with me and then get them all excited. And my hope was I would get them all excited, they would start doing the work, and I could fall into the back. But it was not to be, as you can probably tell from the title of this particular race. Failure is always an option. Failure is always an option, but it's not a bad thing. You learn from your failures, and this is Zwift. It's virtual world. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to lose anything. I can only gain something, and that is knowledge of, well, don't do that again. And here I was really starting to feel it. I don't know what it is, but the last several rides, I've just been getting very bad stitches in my back. It feels like the cramps you get in your sides, what we call stitches, but they're in the back. It's like my kidneys are hurting. I don't know if I'm not hydrated enough, but it even begins to affect my breathing. The pain there is sharp, and it causes me to not breathe as deeply. And toward the end of this particular race, it was really starting to bite. But I'm here with it now. Oh, you see there, pace view, carbon dioxide abnormal in office. So once again, I left my door closed, and when that happens, the carbon dioxide level goes up in my room, in my office, to abnormal levels, and the red lights in my room come on. Of course, there's nothing I can do about it at that point. Just keep pedaling. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm the 7th, so no one is off the front here. I'm staying with it pretty well. I think what ended up happening for me is I kept trying to find a rhythm at this stage. I kind of faded back to the back and realized that in 15th place, that was the final, or what I had hoped to be, the final selection. And I needed to hold on here for that final 15. By the way, I'm also not sure what's up with the quality of the video. My recording supposed to be in HD, so I'm not sure why it's so pixelized. I've got to go back in the settings and find out what's going on there. I'm toying around with what I need for my video card. I'm using an AMD card, and I'm wondering if I need to switch over to an NVIDIA. As I look at other people's videos, mine just doesn't seem to have the same detail that others do. But maybe it's just the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So finishing up this one, I was happy. Hey, I made it through halfway, and I'm staying where I wanted to be. Now we're going to go into the 6th lap. I had been getting power-ups. I don't know if you notice over on the phone screen, there have been a number of power-ups that come there. I had several feathers, which was helpful on the climb, and I had one arrow, which was helpful. Now we're beginning to catch some of the lapped riders. No one's broken off here. I think those final 2 guys must have made their push at the very end to get the gap. I actually was not trying to get to the front here. It just kind of happened that I went through the draft and got a run that took me up on the front. I was really sensing that things were not going to be going my way for this next half of the laps, but I tried to get myself thinking positively and just stay up there in the 5, 10, hang on to that top 15 if at all possible. It definitely appears that that is the last. There was no gap, or there was no small group coming up from that gap. Up the climb, going through. Not quite as fast. Oh, the dreaded burrito. It's just a worthless power up. I think I did try to use it in some technique behind it, or some strategy. Maybe it was just to dump it and get rid of it as quickly as possible. Yeah, that's where I was using. I used it over that climb, um, just trying to keep someone off my back. There's another lapped rider. That isn't someone, or is it? No, that was someone who had gone off the front, but we caught him. Oh, I think that rider used the invisibility power up, which I got an invisibility power up. Not sure where I got it. Was it this lap maybe? We'll see if I did. No, it appears on this lap I got nothing. Oh, nope, there it is. There it is. Yeah, so I was like, I wonder what I can do here. And this was probably one of the more stupid moves I made, but I was like, how do you use the invisibility? It would come in handy in a sprint, maybe, if you didn't have the um, arrow helmet. You could put down the little invisibility dude and jump and maybe try to get a lead out ahead of them, a gap created. My first thought with the invisibility power up was to be at the very back of the group as I hit the climb. And if I could start where they didn't notice me and come up through them with the invisibility power up, maybe I could surprise them on the other side. Not that I thought I would get away. It was more, I wonder what would happen. How do you use this thing? What's some strategy for use of this? So I didn't do that. I knew I had to release it soon. So I put down a pretty decent bit of wattage, but all that did was pull me right up to the front where there was already a rider. And I just used a lot of energy just to get on the front. That was not smart. And I started to pay for it. This is when the stitches really started coming in on me. So, yeah, 170 heart rate, which is not my max, but my max is probably 174. I think maybe in the last year I might have had a 180, but if that were to happen, I would be spit out the back. So that's just the way it is for me. My heart rate, once I hit 170, 171, I'm going backwards. Of course, I gave that away, didn't I? So if anyone's ever racing with me and they notice my heart rate and say, oh, yep, he hit 170, he's going back. So right at this point, bring it down. Get the heart rate down. Get in rest, draft. And one nice thing is my heart rate does recover relatively quickly. And I couldn't imagine we were down in the 100, under 200 watts. So I was like, yeah, let's keep this up, guys. This makes me happy. Coming up on another lap rider. Actually, a number of lap riders up there ahead of us. And you look at this and you say, hey, you're in fourth place with 3 laps to go. But without the video on me, it's hard to know just how much, even at this point, I was just very uncomfortable. And again, I won this race probably 3 weeks ago. The last time I did this race, I won it in a sprint. And I don't know what's happened to me. Just keep getting those stitches in my back. So I think I'm just going to start trying to hydrate a little better and see if that makes any difference. At this stage, what I was thinking was just get to the last lap. So my goal at this stage is just to get to, well, I should say the 9 lap with 2 to go. I just want to stay with these. That's my objective. Objective number 1 was to create a split, which I did. Objective 2 was stay with the group until lap 9. And at this stage, it was kind of like, okay, they're in sight at least as I come to lap 9. But I just couldn't hang on. So I saw there behind me, and you'll see at 2 minutes and 47 seconds, there were 2 riders behind me. And I saw that, and in my state, I didn't pay attention to the fact that there were also some riders behind those 2 guys that were 20 seconds, 19 seconds behind. So at this stage, I was just thinking, 15th place. I've just got to hold on here to get 15th place. And hey, I've got a gap, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Surely I can hold those guys off for that long. How foolish. Because if you look down below there, you'll see 18 seconds. These guys are starting to gain on me. And I think once I go through the banner, at some point I just looked and I noticed that the 2 minutes and 46 second guys were gone. And all of a sudden there were these people breathing down my neck and I didn't know where they came from. Had I been paying attention, I would have known better. But see, even if you look over at the, now you can finally see some coming around as I'm getting ready to come up the climb. This is when I noticed it and I was like, oh my word. I've got to come up, I've got to put out some power to get up this climb, and maybe I can hold these guys off to the finish. But even that effort right there, up into the 400 watts, that was hard. So now I'm saying, maybe I can do it. It's going to be right up on the line. Maybe I can do this. And then in the other part of my mind, it's saying, yeah, but you've got to climb up the other side. You've got one more climb after this, and they're probably going to nail you back on the climb. But I did want to give it a try. So I kept looking at the time, looking at my effort. I started looking at their watts per kilogram and thinking, well, if I can just keep my watts per kilogram above theirs and keep managing it that way, I won't kill myself, but I will ride at their same level and their same effort. And if I do that, then we should maintain the distance. But once I started seeing them get below 10 seconds, uh, my my motivation started waning quite a bit. So I said, what am I going to get? What am I going to get on the power up? Give me a feather. Please give me a feather. I need a feather. Oh, a draft. What am I going to do with a draft? The people are behind me and they're coming around the corner I just did. Now they're getting whatever power-ups they get, and it's going to be bad news. So I wasn't really excited about getting the drafting power up because I knew if they did go past me, they were probably just going to go blowing past me, and woe be to me trying to stay on them. But I did keep fighting. I did try to stay up there, stay ahead of them as much as I could. And I thought here, oh, maybe if I can get past this guy, they will kind of fixate on him and I can get away a little bit, especially as we come around this turn. Maybe I can get by him and then they will lose sight of me and think, oh yeah, well, we've got this guy. 3 seconds, 4 seconds to go, and then we kick up on the climb. And I was just hoping, and I'm putting out 5 watts per kilogram up the climb. That's nothing to shake a stick at. But they were putting out, look at that guy, he's in the red, in the 6 watts per kilogram. There's just no way I'm going to hold it. Yeah, see, so there he goes. And once he went past me, I was like, yeah, forget it. But maybe I shouldn't have. I mean, there's still a gap there. Not now. So I said, why not? Just stay here. 25th place. So in the top half, just ride on home. There is no one behind me that can catch me. Looking at the screen and at the distance. But as you will see, oh, there goes the sprint. They're putting, 15 watts per kilogram. Wow. That was a push. So let's see what happens as we come across the line. I'm seeing 25th place. I cross, and it loads the results. And it shows that I was in 28th place. And that's what I didn't understand. But 25th, 28th, what does it matter? I did give it a try, and I was proud of myself for giving it a try. But sometimes you fail. And when you fail, you learn, and you also have a little bit of fun. It was fun not just to do the same old, same old. I can come back next week and try it again. And I probably will. Well, thanks for watching. And be sure to go to idoit4.org and donate.